Welcome back to the channel. Thank y'all for hanging with me on this Sunday. So I just got off the water and I think I've got some good content for you guys to really help you understand where I'm going with this in this video. And I don't want to squirm too much, so hear me out on this. But when it comes to crankbaits, the learning curve to becoming a good cranker is much bigger than, let's say, a chatterbait or a swim jig, or maybe even like a spinner bait, because those baits, most of the time you're throwing them out and you're just winding them back to the boat. Now a crankbait, you can do that, but the retrieve is very important. And there's a couple things that if you don't have correct before you even get to throwing it out and retrieving it, the bait's not going to work. And that is tuning your crankbait so it runs perfect. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, there's nothing in this video that I can show you or teach you that's going to help you know how to tune your crankbait. That's something that you just have to learn. That's part of that big learning curve that I'm referring to, is getting out there with pliers and bending that line tie and watching your bait come back. And it's like a binary feeling. You either know it's correct or it's completely off. And when it's completely off, it won't catch 10% of the fish that you would catch when it's running perfect. So very important. And then line size being the other one. Now there's some baits where you can stick with the same line size. I think of like a hybrid hunter or a swank. I'm always throwing that on 17-pound test. Lipless crankbait, I'm almost always throwing that on 15 unless I'm fishing it super shallow. In a square bill, you keep in that 15 to 17-pound range, you're probably going to be good. Your medium to deep diving crankbaits, if you keep it in that 12-pound range, you're probably good. But this is where it gets tricky. When the cover starts to grow up later in the year, or maybe when there is no cover, no grass, or you're fishing it a little bit deeper, or maybe you're winding it with your rod tip down in the water, pound test is going to make that bait do different things. So that's something that it's always just about playing with it. It's not so much about this is the correct way, this is how you have to do it. It's taking your pliers and bending that line tie. And today I had to bend it like 6 times. And then after the 6th time, I said, I'm going to catch fish on this cast because it's perfect now. And bam, caught one on it. So that's just how it is. It's a learning curve. It's something that's going to take you years and years to become really good at. There's no 6-second abs when it comes to cranking. And that's why this technique is so good, because your guy that just picks up bass fishing, he only does it for a few years and he moves on to something else. They aren't going to have the time to master this technique. So before you start getting good with your casting, before you get good with the colors and all that, make sure your bait is running true, the line tie is correct, and you should just be able to feel it come back to the boat and understand how pound test is going to make your bait do different things. Some days you don't want your bait bogging down into the bottom of the lake. Some days you just want it above the grass. There's times where it's not going to kick out as much if you have too heavy a line. So all those things are very important. But again, there's nothing in this video that I can tell you that, bam, that's how you do it. You just got to get out there and learn it. And where I'm at now, like I just said, 6 times bending that line tie on that bait, or I'm going to rig one up, same crankbait with 15, I'm going to rig one up with 17. And which one gets more bites and which one is hanging more, that's the where you really want to take your cranking game to the next level. That those little details are super important, because when the guy in the back of your boat's throwing it on 12 and he's catching all the fish and you're throwing it on 15 and you can't get a bite, or your crankbait's just a little bit off, it's not doing that backflip when it comes out of the water, and the guy that is fishing with you has his tuned correctly and he's catching 10-1, that's the whole point of this cranking thing, is it's got to be perfect. It's binary. It's either correct or it's not. There's no in between. Try that. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.